here's a little recap on some manual shooting techniques. So in this case, I've got this toy lens on here, or any other manual lens, and the great ones are. Great photographers manage to do that really well. There's a setting in the menu, and you're able to push this button for live guide, which once you tap that, it zooms in grossly, and you can also choose how much it zooms in. So if I want to get like laser sharp, which this lens can be very laser sharp. In fact, it's like the downfalls. If you have somebody about 3 feet behind, or even, I don't know, 8 inches behind the other guy, one of them gets a nose and the other one gets a blur. So see, I've turned the lens to exactly the perfect spot. And then what I do is I start from the blurry side and I bring it just into focus if I want soft blur. And I keep going till it's out of focus if I want a sharp single plane like iPhone looking photo. So once you've got that where you want it, and I'm gonna go back to sharp blur here so that I have a background that's kind of artistic. And I can shoot that. Now I'm shooting in a menu mode, iAuto. You can use any of these, and I will not go into how you mess with these settings. The math that goes into it, all these things you mess with, depending on the mode you choose, are relatively similar between all the different manufacturers. There's some minor differences. I actually left out Sony in my earlier speech, but Sony has built some pretty amazing cameras. They're not cheap, and they keep changing their lenses. Well, they changed it like once or twice, but you know, I don't want to be invested in a system. But to their point, like the glass wasn't fast enough, and the sensors improved to the point of changes. Fuji as well, they're fantastic. But yeah, I would buy Fuji if I had money to throw around. I wouldn't have done that a few years ago because they were opposed to having image stabilization, which is ridiculous, and they made it like a religious no-no. So in the menu for autofocus and manual focus, this is the one where you say manual focus assist on, and this is something this camera does really well. The E-PM1, I think, does it as well. But yeah, there's a lot of settings in here you can mess with. You can customize some of the buttons and layout, whatever works for you. But yeah, I definitely dig Fuji's color modes, which lets you render like Estia or Velvia type films for people who used to shoot that, which my mom did, and I have some idea of what those things are. But yeah, I don't really want to throw money at that when I can have plenty of fun with these. I'd have to be doing something professional to get into that price point. But in all reality, you know, you're gonna be a hobbyist about it. You're gonna enjoy whatever you have, even if it is maybe not even an interchangeable lens. If it has some amount of manual control, you can have a good time. And if you're not being picky about how they render on camera, then you know you're not limiting yourself as much as I have. But yeah, I would say, I guess for me, personally, the ability to have stabilization is good because you can see my hands aren't super steady, and I don't care who you are. I used to have very steady hands. I would still wind up with a couple f-stops of loss or fractions thereof shooting without a tripod at night. So I had to start using tripods, and then just more and more as you get older and have, you know, surgeries and you wake up half the man you used to be. But yeah, in this particular case, this camera has in-body stabilization, whereas the Panasonics had in lens stabilization. And so what eventually happened was they came up with 5D stabilization where you have both, and you can get some amazing results with that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a day. Have a good time.